This is going to be my F.P.S. first-person shooter, and character choosing guide for Destiny 2. Ooh. The character choosing part is for Destiny 2. The F.P.S. one's F.P.S. in general. First, characters. Now, choosing your character that's right for you, or just to get good at the game, this is my guide for that. Now, if you're going for just a character to get good at the game, play first time, I'd suggest the Warlock, and then if you want to try out the other characters, then go Warlock, Titan, Hunter. But if you just want to get a good feel of the game, play the Warlock, because he's the middle ground. He's more likely to be the best choice for you. Now, if you're just choosing a character, what are you used to is what it depends on. Now, the Titan is that guy who can run in the heat of battle, not needing much cover, and can just create it if he's in the need for it. Has the most amount of health, both, and is best with shotguns and melee weapons, and since he can just get really close. And he's like One Punch Man, because he only punches. Now, for any of you who are usually used to stealthy stuff, or just love to be a sneaky little guy, and just stab somebody in the face while they're not looking, then I'd suggest the Hunter, because you can get a perk that allows you to become completely invisible. So people will be like, "Hey, where'd he go?" And then you blast him in the face with the shotgun. Alright, and if you just want that middle ground, and are usually great with support, or need lots of support or when playing games, like easy healing, or just to up your gun's damage, the Warlock, because he can create rifts that will do that. And he can also blink from place to place, so he can be a great trickster, but that is not in the one you'll play through most of the game. Sadly, that is in the Void Walker one that I have, and I do have an explanation video on what happened to the Titan and why I'm not showing the Hunter anymore. And you guys have seen the Hunter before, but I will show the new Titan and the Hunter, and I might do gameplay of the new Hunter or the new Titan, but more likely I'm just not going to show it off of it. I will show that one off in live streams because he's usually gonna complete missions a lot faster, because I got a 60-minute limit for video clips. So yeah, and here's probably gonna be my favorite part, about this guide is for just getting good at this game. I'd suggest the Warlock, because first of all, he's got something where you can heal yourself. So if you're ever in that desperate need and your cover is not that good because you keep getting shot every now and then, well, look no further than this guy. He can create a healing rift or a gun damage increasing rift. So he's great if you usually play with friends, and you can be that great support character. But he's not like that weak support character that has to run and hide all the time, because once the rift is down, he can be as tough as nails as he wants to be. So you won't have to just wait around for or anything. Like, you won't need to pull out a pistol in a desperate need like Mercy from Overwatch, or you won't have to constantly switch between two modes. Nope, you just put down a rift and it's done. It's just done. Yeah. But the more important part here is that the FPS guide. So I know some people have never played an FPS, and usually that's because lots of role-playing games are more popular. and FPSs are not that well known for that, except for one that I can name, and that is Halo. And maybe Destiny too, if its campaign's good to some people. Now here is my guide for the FPS part. Now, well, for the first person shooter guide. Now, I got a few rules I'll list. I don't know how many, but the first rule is never, or just shoot without using a scope. Now, if you're right in front of somebody, you won't need the scope as much, because that will take longer and could more likely get you killed than if you completely just started shooting out of nowhere. That's your best bet if you're like about how close I am to this igloo. That's probably the best part. Like, if you're just like a few feet away like this, still use the scope. Like, right where this shadow begins, keep using the scope, just run up to them and melee their face. Because that's your best bet of survival. And also, in games, hide behind cover. Lots of times this will save your life. If, and kind of poke your head out like that, or just turn around the corner, then start scoping down enemies. Unless you're a Titan, then you can be out more and just put up a shield when you're not close enough to cover. But here is the thing is my next rule. Never try stupid no scope stuff like you see on YouTube. First of all, most of that was either A, not one tried, and anybody who says that was a one try would have a reaction like, oh my god, did that just happen? But in a more excited tone, and not like, yeah, happens all the time. More like you did that 30 times and then you finally got the no scope. And also, my other tip is don't camp with like Uzis, stuff like that, cause that is stupid. I see it all the time in Call of Duty. Like, or mainly Infinite Warfare, cause in the other games, it's like, yeah, we're actually good at the game, and we're using an assault rifle in assault gunfights, snipers for camping, and shotguns for close encounters. Like, every time I play Infinite Warfare, I see this. So there's a guy, like probably 10 years old, crouching behind here, poking his gun out, having it ready to hit somebody in the head, and it's like an assault rifle. I'm like, first of all, it's an assault rifle. Assault rifle. You know what that means? You're supposed to get in assault gunfights with it. It's every machine gun in the game, but people still like crouch behind cover and just poke that thing near your head. And I get killed by that every time. And then they're like, oh, I'm so good at this game, I'm gonna kill this guy before he can touch me, so I'm gonna just no scope him. And that's most of those 10-year-olds. They're over cocky because they're like level 50, and then the other dude's like level 20. But that dude knows what he's doing in a gunfight, and then you don't. So you're just like dead in 3 seconds, leaving that guy barely surviving. And not really, like, they'll probably just survive and kill you. The thing is most 10-year-olds and under seem to be a bit over cocky with that. You know, squeakers in COD, they're over cocky in Infinite Warfare. Cause like every time I'll see, they'll try to no scope me if it's in a gunfight, and then they'll pull up their scope after I'm like almost already dead, and then they die. Cause I freaking only used the scope till I got right up at their face, to the point where I wouldn't have to need the scope. And then there's the noobs. The noobs will like think will watch YouTube videos, and most of the time people use assault rifles with a no-scope. Well, the problem with rifles in COD is the crosshairs are very unreliable. Well, when you're not using a scope, because they expand, which is completely unhelpful. No matter what you do, it's completely unhelpful to you, and it's annoying. So here's the more important part about FPS. When you, alright, I'm gonna get to the guide now. So for an FPS, never do this. And what that is never try to run up to people and shoot them with a sniper. Because first of all, that is a ridiculous idea. It's like going about face to face with them, like my face to this line, and trying to shoot them with a sniper. First of all, bro, that's not gonna work. And second of all, you're more likely gonna get killed and hit in the face rather than getting that kill. You camp with a sniper. You use a assault rifle, submachine gun, or light machine gun in combat of assault. Like, do you ever see a soldier camping up where a sniper would be, shooting with an assault rifle? No, you never see that. You never see that. And like, lots of them are 10-year-olds that are level 50, and then they're just like this. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna kill this guy. He has a terrible gun. And he's only like level 20. And I got like a legendary or epic, whatever it is, his gun. And that always insta-kills people. They try to no-scope you. They miss every shot. Or barely get any shots. Pull up the scope after they're half dead. And then you kill them. And they get mad. Only real pros at COD ever win in a gunfight with me. Because, first of all, I never, in multiplayer shooters like COD, ever go sitting in a corner. Because, first of all, that's way too risky. Because somebody finds you, like, let's say I'm hiding here. Somebody comes up behind me, I can be insta-killed. So if I'm trying to sit there the whole game and get kills, I can easily be insta-killed. Yeah. So, never do that. I just know from experience, be smart. But here's my number one rule in FPS, is scope use. The number one rule is never use a scope. Like this, about this is when you wouldn't need a scope, is this or far or closer, maybe this, depending on the size of the enemy. From here, use a scope, and any further. Because if you're trying to no scope from here, crosshairs are gonna expand. That's harder to pinpoint a location. Especially if it's like taking up the edges of your screen, then you'll never know where you're shooting unless you actually hit them. So yeah, never do that. Ever. Those are my kind of more pro tips on FPSs, because I mean, I've seen this so many times. Is 10-year-old or just a noob, doesn't have to be 10, but most of the time it is a 10-year-old in COD. So they will end up trying to fight me. in a match. Now, here's how it's gonna go. So, I am running around. They get caught trying to camp, so they turn around and they try to no-scope me. I might take a bit of damage because they finally switch to scope once they're half dead, thinking that that will save them, when I've been using the scope the entire freaking time. And then they're dead. Then they're getting mad. First of all, for all you noobs out there, COD, who might have raged at me that one time I said that all this stuff in a live stream. Well, this is to any noob-ish character. Like, you might say, yeah, I am a pro because of your level, but how are you actually playing that whole time? Are you just camping like 12 hours a day in this game? Or will you playing for like 2 hours a day, assaulting, 12 hours camping, majority of Infinite Warfare, probably a good majority of most COD players? Because they'll be thinking, oh yeah, I am a veteran. First of all, this is probably your first COD game. Second of all, well, you camp for like most of the game in one spot. And then third, when you get in an actual gunfight, and if you are one of those dudes who does camp, when you get into an actual gunfight, no, that is not you. Shoot somebody in the head with an assault rifle and insta-kill them without them even being able to react to it in-game, just like they can react to it outside game, but they can't react to it at all in-game. So when you're in an actual gunfight, you get slaughtered because the other person knows how to be in a gunfight and actually win. Because I get into like 3-4 gunfights in a match, and most of the time I wreck people who go against me because they spent more of their time camping. And when they actually get into a gunfight, they can't win because they're using no-scope tactics or just terrible tactics in general. Like in one map, they try to go around me, trick me. First of all, I can look where you're about to go, or follow you, then just keep shooting you once I see you on the other side. Like, that's not a good tactic, because everybody can see you moving over there, trying to reposition yourself, and you can do the same thing just as fast, and then start shooting at you more. Hide behind the thing, not move across it. Like, here's an example of what happened. So, there's a guy, he's getting shot at from over here. Let's pretend the tree is a thing, but it was actually like a fountain. Then you start moving over. Hold on, I'm gonna do this better, where it's like something you can hide behind, as an example of what you should be doing. So let's say I'm being shot at from over here. You don't move across to here. They will follow you and shoot you. I've seen that all the time on that map where it's like that. This is what I would have done. Hid behind the cover, regain health, then jump around them, and then shoot them in the back. That's how you do it. You don't go, I'ma hide behind here, or I'ma go around this way. Oh no, they're there, dead. Like, nobody's gonna fall for that. That's stupid and ridiculous. That's been my little F.P.S. guide. And also, just my experience with most people in COD. Well, actually, I'm gonna keep going on about the experience in COD now. Here's the thing that I usually see. Now, when I'm playing, I'll be like running around, and then I get shot from a guy literally sitting in a corner. And then he takes a shot at my head, and it kills me. And you might be asking, how do you know that he had to have been camping? Bruh, I've gotten a kill like this before. So I had an assault rifle. A guy jumped in the air. He like flew in the air. Well, as he was falling, I was trying to shoot at him. I missed every shot for his body till I panned up to his head. Then once I got that shot on his head, it killed him instantly. Meaning that means any rifle, assault rifle, or anything like that, besides shotguns and knives, because I mean, like, this is the camping with shotguns and knives. You see somebody, they see you, go like around a corner, boom, run away. Or you whack them in the face with whatever melee weapon, run away. That's how it usually works. It's like, they'll see you. Oh. Then, when they're about to come around the corner, just go boom or wha-pow. And they can't really react to it unless they're like this. So here's a tip for if you see somebody with a shotgun or a melee weapon or what you might think of one. Do this, like kind of like here. Let me show you what you do. Do kind of like this, so you can see them poking out, and then shoot them like that, or go around the corner farther away, so that way they'd have to run up to you, and then you can shoot them as they're running up, and then like hit them in the face. That's one thing you can do, or as the other thing I showed you, where like kind of back off, like you do this, kind of like, or like as you're like doing this, just back up until you can see the guy around the corner, then you shoot him. Those are some FPS tips for if you see that, but most camping I see, it's like, imagine you're just having a nice time, and then suddenly a guy was sitting in the corner as you were like running past him, and then he gets a headshot on you. Because every player's height is the same, so it just needs to get one headshot, and then I'll always know, unless you slide, unless you either do this or just like fly over top, then he's not gonna get that right. Why I'd prefer using a sniper, because then you won't need to predict where their head's gonna be. You just need to like shoot them anywhere. It's an insta-kill. But here's the thing though, that I see every day with COD players, is they will camp with legendary assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, and everything like that. But when they get into an assault gunfight, where that would be way better than with camping, they die. You know why? Because they're either overcocky 5-year-olds, like overcocky little kids, who are just like no scoping stuff, and then, or they're either noobs who got to level 50, who have never been in an assault gunfight before, and just do what they see on YouTube, which is they start shooting people without using a scope. And as I've discussed, is unless you're like about this far away from somebody, or depending on the character, because like sometimes it could be like this close, or even this close for like no scoping. Really all depends on the enemy. But like if you keep like the farther you go, you don't try to no scope, because usually the crosshairs aren't gonna ever line up the way you want them to. You have to literally draw on your screen crosshairs for yourself, where for every time it expands, or you have to get like a mod for it. Just frickin' use the scope the right way. I mean, there's a scope on the gun, not to snipe. It's there for you to shoot people from too far away, for you to no scope them. So here's the over cocky little kids one, is they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm level 50. I got an epic gun. I'm a no-scope this dude. And then the guy using the scope, who's probably a veteran, who like probably got the game a week ago, and he hasn't put as much time into it as other COD games. They're getting over cocky. They get wrecked due to the guy who's actually using the scope. Level does not matter for any FPS. It might matter on what gear you get, because like the higher level in Destiny, you get like better defense and better power damage on gear. And no, that does not mean that, like, here's what I recommend though for Destiny. If you get a weapon that has at least close to, so 80 to 100 power level, and anything above 80 to 100, it can be used in online mode. And then gear that's kind of the same way, 80 to 100 and up, should be used in online mode. Don't use like that 21 stuff. That's gonna get you killed. That's mainly like, you can use that stuff in events or things where it's all you're on a team of players and then you're just against AI. But unless you're against only AI, then don't wear that stuff into like the crusade, okay? It's probably gonna be like the one mode I'd always quit on before the game starts. And it's the mode where you have to pick up stuff. You know, when somebody dies. Now, in COD, I didn't even know they did a variant of this until I actually saw it. But they'll drop dog tags, and there is a mode where you have to get that stuff. But you can also like turn that on in custom matches, and it'll just give you extra points. And that's a great idea, because then you can get like, you can end a match quicker than ever. But like, here's the problem with Destiny. It's like little Sith holocrons. If you don't know what those are, they're like little pyramids that are red for enemies, and then like blue versions, because like the Jedi ones are square or cubes. But like, you got those little things. First of all, you're more likely not to see that and think it's just ammo, because I mean the ammo glows. So you're probably just gonna think that's probably ammo, or you're just gonna think that's like not important. It's very insignificant, because there's lots of lights in a game where most guns shoot lasers instead of bullets. So more likely you're gonna just think it's just flashing lights. That's what this game is gonna have in the future. See? And more importantly is that they're small. Alright, so if you remember Battlefront 1, that was like just the main multiplayer game mode, beside like just normal multiplayer deathmatches as troops only kind of mode. That mode, you picked up little things from your enemies, and guess what? They were all worth something. They would be different for each side, but here's the thing. You'd have to pick those up. But those are bigger. The dog tags are even bigger than the ones on like the dog tags on COD. Those are bigger than the ones from Destiny 2, or not Destiny 2, Battlefront 1. So clearly Destiny is doing something wrong with that mode. And also, you can't pick the game modes anymore. But I'm fine with that, cause like you know how you're just like always gonna play one game mode, or always gonna play another. I think this is just to make it so more people will experience every game mode. There's a reason to keep playing online mode, is Lord Shax, who usually would be right here, but as you can tell, nobody else is in this part of the game. It's mainly because I didn't get that far. Now this is going on a bit longer than it needs to, but here's the thing though, is Alright, so back to my original statement. Level doesn't matter in FPS. This is to any of you who might be like those like little kids that play FPSs, where level doesn't matter. Well, they probably played only Pixel Gun until they actually got a real FPS. Well, a real console FPS, at the least. And if you don't know what Pixel Gun is, it's like, take Minecraft. Take a very terrible Call of Duty copy, throw them together, Pixel Gun. It was actually the first FPS I got. It was on my phone. But the level always mattered, because the level allowed you to unlock new weapons, allowed you to upgrade those weapons with the in-game currency. The problem with this, though, is the fact that all the things wrong with this is, first, is the fact that all of the things you're going to be doing is trying to level up. Get coins, and spend on guns. That's the whole game for those people. So if they only played that, they wouldn't know that, oh, the scope's actually important, because the crosshairs they're not just like one little crosshair. If you don't know what that is, that's like a little plus. It's not gonna be there in actual FPSs. It's easier on mobile because, well, first of all, tapping a button instead of pressing one is going to be a lot harder to do constantly than it is to just just go like and shoot with crosshairs. So that's why the crosshair just stays instead of like expands, and doesn't expand too much. There's like no swivel on the gun like as they're shooting, so it's not gonna go up and down, it's not gonna go left or right as it's shooting. I question this. What's a sentry, and what is a sentry for, and what is the point of this whole thing? But if you don't get what I'm saying, it's not an FPS for those people who have never played an FPS on console. It's not great for those people because it plays nothing like an actual console FPS. I'm not saying the game's bad. It's good. It's good for what it is because it's a mobile game and it's also a PC game, but it was originally a mobile game. Now here's the thing, though, is it's not good because most likely those little kids that I keep talking about, they will think, oh yeah, if I'm a higher level than this person, clearly I'm gonna be better. First of all, in actual FPSs on the console, you're better if you're skilled, not if you're freaking high level. I just mean to get high level stuff. Like, the higher level you get in this, the higher in defense and armor, and like defense in your armor and power in your guns will get, and more abilities you'll get as well. But the problem is that doesn't matter. It just means you'll get better stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Like, legendaries on COD doesn't matter. Like, mainly all they do is usually they'll up your damage. Up damage on a gun, and then like either give it a new perk or just give it like a thing, like different abilities to the gun. Like if you don't know what I mean, like quicker reload time, and then like when you get into legendary epic status, it's like you can get stuff where if you get on a 25 kill streak, you can get like nuclear damage. I don't know what that means. I think that just means you can use a nuke. Basically, here's what I'm saying is those little kids probably played Pixel Gun till they got COD or Destiny or any multiplayer shooter. So they think the leveling system is the whole game. Like, higher level, better you are. And also, Pixel Gun's best if you camp anyway. So they're more likely going to do that. And heck, they're so annoying when you're playing and then that one 2-year-old, like, that one kid with the voice that hasn't hit puberty yet, just wailing in their mic, and it's just so annoying. It takes forever to turn it off as well, because, like you'd have to go into the menu, pull out nav mode, because that's the same button you'd press to pull up the thing, but pull up the scoreboard. You go to their name, you gotta mute them. But what the problem with that is, I'm pretty sure you can only use the D-pad or the right joystick. Like, not the left one, which would make more sense. Or I think you can only use the D-pad. Sucks. But here's the main thing that I hate though about those like 10-year-old kids who just finally got a real F.P.S. or like finally got an F.P.S. for their console. I'm trying not to hate on Pixel Gun because it's good for a mobile game. And I don't know about the PC version, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be as good as like COD for a PC. But here's the thing is, scopes were not nearly as required. Leveling was the whole main purpose of the game. Is the higher level you were, the better stuff you could get, all that stuff. And then, you could camp with practically anything, or you could just sit in one spot, get a ton of kills with anything. That's all you need. Well, the problem with that is in an actual console FPS or MPS, which would be a multiplayer shooter. I think that's how, like, an acronym for it. I don't know. Well, you tell me. But basically, multiplayer shooters or an FPS, that's usually the same thing anyway. Is most likely those kids have only played Pixel Gun, and they've only camped in like more. Like, I don't want to hate on the game because I'm afraid I might get in trouble for it, but real FPSs, I call it that because, like, it's not really a real thing if that's not what, because, like, it's probably the only game that does that, or actually a real console version, because almost every multiplayer shooter on your phone is the same. Thing is the scopes take so long to pull up that you might as well not use it, and the crosshairs are so easy for you to just use that instead of a scope. That's the problem. So if you guys want to know anything, is don't trust in mobile games logics, because first of all, it's gonna be way harder when you get to an FPS, because usually longer distances, or just like about this length from that soccer goal, well, to me, because that's like, if you're thinking of a player's size, it's probably gonna be harder to no scope them. But here's the thing, all that stuff that I'm mentioning about the game that makes it very problematic for those people is that they've only played that, so they will only camp and never use a scope unless they can hold it there for a long amount of time. But here's the thing, quickly pull up a scope is what you can do in these games. The things that are the slowest with that is a sniper, kind of why it's meant for camping. It's just ridiculous that they're doing this. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling on. about all that. Because, well, here's a tip to any of you. Don't trust mobile games FPS logic. And if you ever see somebody and if you ever want to give people any tips with FPS stuff, use the tips I give in this video. Remember this, unless you're like a few feet away from a target, and it's way easier to shoot them from close up instead of having to take the time to pull up the scope. That's how you use the scope, is unless you can shoot them, it's easy to shoot them with no scope, and all that stuff, then don't use a scope. But if you're like so far away that it'd be way harder to hit, then use the scope. There, that's my tips. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you all in the next... Whoops, wrong one. See you all in the next video. And sorry for anybody who might be one of those people who only played Pixel Gun and then finally got a real FPS, but I keep wanting to say real, but almost every mobile game is like Pixel Gun, except, or controls like it, so basically a console FPS, or the more licensed ones, those FPSs, make sure you don't use Pixel Gun's logic, because that will get you killed. So, hope you all enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed. See you dudes, next one. Bye.